Since we are all now ready and all set to begin, I want to welcome you once again for this 2-hour session which begins now. And I want to thank you for a reason. Why do I need to thank you? Because you could have chosen to do anything else right now, right? You could have been somewhere else, watching something else, doing something else, but you choose to be here. And I want to thank you for that. That shows that you trust EduBridge. That shows that you trust this process of making sure that you can crack any interview in your life. How many of you would want to know how to do that? If you need that, please type me in the chat box, me. If you want to know that how do you crack any interview that comes your way in your life. Thank you, Niveta. Thank you, Dheeraj. Thank you, Sushma, Pavitra. Absolutely great. I love that already. Now, since we are going to spend some time together, is it okay if I introduce myself? Give me a thumbs up. Is it okay if I introduce myself? Great. Thank you. I can see a thumbs up from Sumi, Sandeep, from Lokambika. Some of you are still shy to show your face to your webcams. So as you can see, this is us, and I'm right there in the center. And I was a part of second batch at Edu School's, EduBridge Guru School, which was the trainer for all of us. And I had an amazing time there. Now, you can see Lily sir is there, Sushil sir is there, and Shaina ma'am is there. The entire gang is there, right? And I learned a lot of things there, which helped me to then crack a few interviews and get associated with the top clients in this country. So who am I and why should you listen to me, right? Why should you invest your time in listening to me? So my name is Abhay Valsangkar. I am a trainer and founder of a company called as Avatar, Avatar. And what is Avatar? It is nothing but Abhay Valsangkar Academy of Training and Research. And as you see the logo, we are based on the concept of fun plus learning. That's what we do in all our training programs. So how many of you today are ready to have some fun while you learn? If you are ready for that, please type R in the chat box, R for ready. If you're ready to have some fun while you learn, go ahead and type R right up there. Yeah, thank you. I can see a lot of people typing in R. I love the speed there. So I'm also a TEDx speaker. I'm sure some of you might have heard of TED or TEDx, right? These are things that happen when you go on YouTube. You find a lot of videos which would come up. So I'm a TEDx speaker as well, and this is what I do for bread and butter. I take a lot of workshops, and on an average, there are around 500 to 800 people in front of my room, and I teach them on getting better at their skills. I teach them to make sure that I can empower them so that they can excel in their own lives. So this is an example of how the pre-COVID era was, right? And this is the COVID era. We have shifted completely to online, but the passion still remains to help people to become better version of themselves. So why should you listen to me? For the past 7 years, I've trained more than 30,000 participants all across India and in fact in 7 other countries. And I've been featured on a lot of platforms all across the world. And that is where I could help crack more than 200 different clients. And how did I crack that? I cracked that interview with them. And that's exactly what I'm going to help you with today, so that even you could do better, get a better job, get a better business deal, or just learn the art of communicating in an interview. How many of you are willing to learn that? If you are willing to learn that, type yes in the chat box. Let me see if you're willing to learn how to do that. Thank you, Jyoti. Thank you, Lokeshwari, Anjamul, Uma, Deepika, Debi. I love it. I love your energy already in the room. So let's get started without wasting any more time. How to crack any interview. Ab ye statement bahut heavy hai, right? It's a very heavy statement. How can someone say you can crack any interview? It's not possible, right? But what I'm going to help you with right now is, currently, if you give 10 interviews, you might get selected in 1 or 2. But with this technique, which I'm going to help you throughout, that percentage would go up to 6, 7, 10, maybe 8 on 10. So it's going to take you to the next level from wherever you are. If you think you know everything and you are great, you are at level 9, this will help you to go to level 10. If you are a learner, you are at level 2, this will help you to go to level 4 and level 6. But what I want from all of you today is the willingness to learn, okay? And that's why we are going to start with this. How will I help you in the entire journey today? Today, I'm going to tell you 3 important aspects of any interview. 3 stages. First stage is before the interview. What do you do before an interview? What do you do during an interview? And what do you do after an interview, once an interview is done? Okay. Now, what I want for you to realize is a simple thing. Today, make notes, make maximum notes which are possible. Just don't click pictures. You can click pictures. This content is for you. Up screenshot low, photo low, that's okay. But what happens is this. If you just click a picture, tell me honestly in the chat box, yes or no. Okay, tell me honestly. If you click a picture, जिंदगी में कभी भी do you go back to the gallery of the phone, look at the image and start learning? वाह 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 आज सीखेंगे. ऐसा कोई करता है क्या? Be honest. Type yes or no in the chat box. Thank you, Devesh. Thank you, Amit. Thank you. I'm getting a sea of no saying no, 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 no. एक आधा yes बीच में है, but बाकी सब no है. Which means honestly we don't go back and do it, right? हमारे अंदर we have a fear of missing out. That what if I miss out? And that is exactly what creates a problem. And that is why make sure just taking pictures won't help. Why? Because when you take pictures, it leads to cell development. Your cell phone, that is what is getting developed. But when you write it in your own handwriting, it leads to self-development. How many of you would want self-development over cell development? Type SD in the chat box, which is self-development. If you want self-development over cell development. Thank you, Sandhya. Thank you, Uma. Thank you, Dheeraj. Great. And I'm going to encourage you to keep your cameras on. See, if you want to crack any interview, you can't do it with camera off. What is inside of you that you're hiding? Is it the background? Is it the paint of the wall? Is it your face? Is it your clothing? Is it, the color is not good of the wall, the light is low? What are you hiding? Don't hide, accept what you have. That's the first thing that will help you to go ahead. So I'm going to help you at these 3 different stages today and make maximum notes that you can. So it's going to help you a lot. Okay. So I'm going to do an activity right now and I want all of your cameras to be on for that. And let's keep both your hands like this in front of you. Let me see the gallery mode if I can see maximum of you. Okay. I want you to participate. Don't be shy. यहाँ पे सही गलत कुछ नहीं है. Just experience this. So keep your hands like this in front of you. Everyone, let's do this together. Everyone who's here, do this together with me. Okay, done. अब हम क्या करेंगे? We are going to clap on the count of 3. जब मैं 3 बोलूंगा, हमें clap करना है, ठीक है? Ready? 1, 2. ओए, क्या हो गया? What happened there? You can keep your hands down. I said we clap on the count of 3, right? But most of you clapped on the count of 2. Why did that happen? Can someone tell me in the chat box? कैसे क्यों हुआ? मैंने कहा कि बॉस 3 पे हम क्लैप करेंगे, पर आप सभी ने, ज्यादातर लोगों ने, 90% of you clapped on 2 and not 3. What was the reason? Can someone tell me in the chat box? Let me see if anybody has got the reason.
Sir,
excited people are
excited. Sir, can you speak in English, sir?
Yes, I'll speak in English. Thank you. I'll speak in English. Okay. Can you tell me why did most of us clapped on the count of 2 and not on the count of 3? Can someone tell me that? Less concentration, anticipation, excited. Great. Wonderful. Thank you. Now here's the deal. Let's understand why you all clapped on 2. The honest answer is because Abhay, you clapped on 2. That's it. I clapped on 2 and that is why you all clapped on 2. Is this true or true? Give me a thumbs up like this on your webcam. Is it true of what I just said? Thank you. Now, what does that mean? Everybody write this in your book. People do what you do, not what you say. I'll repeat one more time and make a note of this. It's an important lesson before you go for an interview. People do what you do, not what you say. So if I'm saying something, but if I'm doing something different, it's not going to work out. So make sure that you do, because people are going to do what you do. They're going to see your example. So today when I'm going to share my journey, I'll be sharing things which I have done, not just things that I've said. So it's a learning based on life experiences, which has helped me to get somewhere, and it will definitely help you also to get where you want to be. So how many of you are willing to learn at 100%? Type 100% in the chat box. If you are ready to play, learn, and have fun at 100%. Thank you. I can see 110 by Lokeshwari, which is great. Devi says 100, 100, 100. Karishma, Muhammad, Rashma, Anjumul, absolutely great. Niveta, that's wonderful. Now, here's a look at the things. Write down in your book this very important concept that what's the golden principle? What's the hiring rule? Why does a company hire you? Okay. Now, write into the chat box. What do you think is the #1 reason why people hire you? Apart from obviously there is a vacancy. No, that's not what I'm talking about. Why do people hire someone? What are the things that they look out? If tomorrow, if we have, say, anyone, let's say if Jyotsna goes for an interview, what will the interviewer look in Jyotsna and then select? What is that thing? Productivity, confidence, skills, value, skills, communication, great. Knowledge, passion, wonderful. What else? Capability. Okay, excellent. Thank you. We got 10 answers quickly. Attitude, knowledge, skill. Wonderful. Great. Now look at your screen and understand the golden principle. Very, very important for you to know. In an interview, people look at the knowledge. That's one thing they look at, right? Do you have what you are claiming to have? If you go for a coding interview, do you know actually to code? So they might check on that. That's the first thing that they might check. The foundation. Is your foundation strong? Can you actually do what you're saying you can? Okay. The what of things that, what are you good at? That's the first thing that they ask for in an interview. Now, hold on and pay attention to the rest. The second thing that they look out for is your skills, the implementation of your knowledge. If I have all the knowledge in the world, but if I can't implement it, how many of you realize that is useless? Give me a raise of hand on your webcam. If you agree, just having knowledge is not good enough. Give me a raise of hand. Thank you. I'll give you an example. In your college, you might have a professor who is a PhD professor, right? Doctor something, something. And when the doctor teaches you for 6 months in a year, it goes like a bouncer over your head. And on the day of your exam, when your friend teaches you something, it goes directly here in your head. How many of you this has happened to you? Raise your hand up if this has happened to you. Thank you. What does this mean? The PhD professor obviously has more knowledge, but the transfer of knowledge, the implementation is what your friend does when the friend says to you. So how well do you implement what you have learned? How is what is focused on skills. But here's the number one thing which I'm going to tell you right now. Both of these things doesn't matter as much as the core, the main, the golden rule for things. And that main thing, which is very, very important, is the third thing which you see on your screen right now, which is the why of things, which is nothing but your attitude. Now, I want all of you to write this in your book and understand this. People don't hire you for your skills. No. Write this down in your book and listen to the line carefully. People hire, write this down. People hire you for your attitude. People hire you for your attitude and train you for your skills. For your skills. What do I mean when I say that? I'll repeat it one more time. People hire you for your attitude and train you for your skills. If I am taking someone in my company, I'm not going to look at how good skilled this person is. Why? Because I am going to provide the training. What I want to look out for is the person having the right attitude, the attitude to learn. Write this down. Are you a lifelong learner? That is the attitude which is going to differentiate you from someone else. I'll tell you honestly, wherever I have been, I have cracked an interview. It has never been based on my skills. It is always my attitude. Because if I ask you this, are you really good at what you do? Then you might be like, not that great. But you're still at some place, right? You're still into an institute, into a college. How did you crack? How did you get in? How are you surviving? It's because of your attitude. Are you willing to learn? So this is what I always tell. As a participant, the cup of learning which you have, keep the cup half empty so that new learning, new water would add along. If your cup is full and if I give you extra knowledge, the extra water is just going to fall down, right? So keep the habit of being a lifelong learner and remember the golden rule. They hire you for your attitude and train you for your skills. Skills training is for everyone, even if you're good or bad. But the attitude, how do you change that? And that's where the attitude for learning is important. How many of you think what you heard is important for you and you got a lot of value from it? Type value in the chat box. Let me see if you got some value from it. If you got a lot of value, type value in the chat box. That's great. Thank you. Wonderful. So remember this, skills can be taught. How would someone change your attitude? That you have to do it. And that's the first golden principle of any interview. Now, I'm going to help you with 7 steps on how to crack any interview. So far, what we did was just dealing with your mindset, that how to get ready. Now we are actually going to start with the principle. It's a 7-step principle, and I've helped it to break it down for you. So as the word prepare, it's a 7-letter word, right? Each letter is one step. So there is a step which starts with P. There is a step which starts with R. And like this, there are 7 steps. If you follow these 7 steps, there is a 99.9% chance that you will crack the interview. Why that 0.01% chance of not cracking? It's because of your attitude. Because I don't know how your attitudes are, right? And very difficult to change someone's attitude. So I'll help you with everything else. You need to help yourself with the attitude. So how many of you are willing to now understand the prepare technique of cracking an interview? If you are ready, type prepare in the chat box and give me a thumbs up like this. Let me see on your webcam. How many of you are giving a thumbs up? Great, thank you. I can see a lot of people with a thumbs up. I can see a few hands which are a little shy. Shyly, they are going up. Some of them are wondering, if I keep my hand up, my parents will look at me and they'll think, what's wrong with this person? Why is he raising hand? Why is she giving thumbs up? You don't need to worry about them. Just be here 100%. And trust me, the next 1 odd hour, you're going to love the way we are learning together. Okay. Thank you. I can see in the chat box, almost everyone is typing in prepare. So let's start with the first one. P. What is P for? Write this down what you see in your book right now. Number 1, which is pre-interview research. It is very, very important for you to do your homework before you go to any interview. And where does it start? It starts from you yourself. Is this a job which is suitable for me? You need to start from that point. And let me help you understand what this is, okay? Let's understand this right now. When you want to search anything, you usually search on Google, right? So let's do a quick activity right now. Everyone, get your cell phone out, get your mobile phones out in front of you. And if you have joined the call on a mobile phone, that's okay. Just go to Google search right now. Do this with me live, quickly. And let your mobile be seen like this in front of your webcam, like this. So I know that you are ready. Okay, great. Now go to Google and type these 3 words. University makes me. University space though, type makes M-A-K-E-S space me, M-E. Type these 3 words and don't do anything. Just type these 3 words. Now you will get automatic answers. Can you tell me what are those automatic answers? Type it in the chat box. Let me see. I can see a few of you are already smiling. I can see Mercy is like, oh my God, what are these results? What's happening here, right? Type it in the chat box. Tell me. Depressed. What else? What else do you see? University makes me what? Sad. Okay. What else? Depressed. Feel stupid. Great. Wonderful. Type it out. What else? Feel stupid, sad, feel stupid, anxious. Oh my God. Feel depressed. Feel like a failure. Oh my God. Cry. Oh, that's the saddest of all, right? Cry. University makes me cry. Now, everybody leave your cell phone aside and pay attention to what I'm about to say. Leave your mobiles aside, okay? Some of you are very smart people. Now you got a chance. Now you'll secretly go to Instagram, to WhatsApp and quickly check and then take a detour, right? Don't do that. Pay attention to here. Very, very important. So if you see, when you type on Google, university makes me, all negative words come in, right? Now, why is this so? I want you to understand this before I give you the techniques, because this is very, very important. Typically, this is how the mobile phones are from say 100 years back to 100 years now. Tell me in the chat box, are they same or is there a difference? Type either same or type difference. What do you think? Are these 2 pictures same or different? Type into the chat box. Thank you. Different. Absolutely great. So in 100 years, a lot has changed in the way mobile phones operate, right? There's a huge difference. Now, second example, these are cars from 100 years back and this is car from now. Do you see something similarity or is it a big difference? If there's a difference, type down D in the chat box. Let me see. Are they same or is there a difference? Great, thank you. There's a huge difference, right? A big difference. If you see, both the images had a lot of difference. Now let's see the third image. And this is where I'm a little worried. Why? Because this is how the classroom is from 100 years back and this is how it is today. Now take a moment and honestly type into the chat box. Is there a huge difference or is it pretty much similar? Type S if you think it's similar. Thank you. I can see S, similar. And this is where I want you to realize everything has changed over the last 100, 150 years, but education typically is in the same way. Classroom setup, one teacher, multiple students sitting, one teaching, other listening, one talking, other doing. It's been the same, right? And there's a problem to that. This is outdated. And I want you to be aware of situations so that you can prepare yourself for an interview. So what does this mean? These are the current top job openings that you have in the world. These are the fields which are like, selling like hotcakes. And this includes 3D analyst. We don't even know what's a 3D analyst. This includes an influencer, a vlogger. None of that is taught in school today, right? Now, what do I mean and what's the problem here? Understand this. Way back in 1830s, there was a guy when India was under the British rule. How many of you know India was ruled by Britishers? Let's start from there. A raise of hand if you know that. Great, thank you. Excellent. So in the 1830s, they sent a guy to India called as Lord Macaulay. And Lord Macaulay came to India, and his only mission was to see how they can rule India better. So he went across the entire country and met a lot of people, and then went back in 1835 and gave this speech in the British Parliament. And he said this, that I've traveled across India and I've not even seen a single beggar. Now, mark my words, understand this, not even a single beggar in India. Today, if you just pop out of your window, wait for 5 minutes, you will see a beggar who's sitting or walking. How many of you agree to what I'm saying? A raise of hand if you get that. Thank you. And he's saying, no, not even a single beggar in India. He says their cultural unity is so much that we cannot divide them. It's very difficult. He says people trust each other. There is no communal violence. Now look at India today, there's communal violence, right? So what happened? He said this, that if we want to rule over India better, this was in 1835, he went to the British Parliament and said, if we want to rule India better, we need to break the backbone of their country. Their backbone, we need to break that. And what was that backbone? The backbone was the education system of India. How many of you have heard of this line? India was known as Sone ki Chidiya. How many of you have heard of that? Raise your hand up if you have heard of that. Thank you. Excellent. Wonderful. We had universities like Nalanda University, right? We were the center of learning for all over the world. Scholars from all over the world used to come to India and we used to host them. But this guy came and he changed the entire system. And he said, from now on, we will only have education which is utilitarian. What is utilitarian? We'll create a system of STEM learning, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And we will only do this. Why? Because in the 18th century, it was an era of industrialization. It was an era of factories. So what they wanted was a student who would do his education and come and work in a factory, which means the entire education system is based on a job in a factory. That's what it is based on. How many of you understand what I'm speaking right now? Give me a raise of hand if you get that. Thank you. Which means your education system makes you become a factory worker, a laborer. That is why exactly it was based on. And the answer to this is in your question right now. If you ask your parents, I want to be a singer, I want to be an artist, what would they say? They would say, no, no, no. Are you crazy? Take science, do engineering. Take this, do that. Why? Because in India, there's a hierarchy. Science comes first, then comes commerce, then comes arts. Why? Because in that industrial era, you did not require a singer playing a guitar in a factory, right? You wanted someone who can operate machines. And that is why that was given importance. But the era is gone. Today, we are no more in the industrial era. Today is the social era, information era. And the system is still the old pattern system. That's exactly what the problem is. If you look at the STEM graduates, which is the technical or science graduates, China is number 1, India is second. But when you talk about the World Innovation Index, does India innovate? We are at a rank which is after 150. Can you imagine that? So which means we have a lot of engineers, but not many things that they do. So our system is based on this concept, which is competitive exam. Get everybody in a room and let them give the same paper. And out of that evaluation, a job would then come up. And this is a big problem, right? This is what Albert Einstein said, that if you want, to judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, the fish would live all of its life wondering if it is stupid. They would feel that they are not meant for it. How many of you realize there's a similarity between factory and your school? Let's take an example. How are schools' batches decided? It's decided on the batches of your birth year, right? Everybody born in the year 2000 is clubbed together. If you go to a factory, it is based on the manufacturing date of the product. So basically what you are to a school, a product is to a factory. If you see, how does a school start? It starts with a ring of a bell. How does a factory start? It starts with the ring of a siren. When people come into a school, the teacher takes attendance, right? When you enter an office, you give your biometric system attendance when you enter. All of you are set together in a batch. If you fail, you are just kicked out. On a conveyor belt, if the product fails, the product is just pushed out and you then continue to the next journey. How many of you realize there is a vast similarity between factory and how schools operate? Give me a raise of hand if you get that. Thank you. And that's exactly why today the education system is more like a factory and things are better. Things are changing. The new education policy is changing that. But currently it is still like a factory, which is a big, big problem. Now, this is what the CEO of Mahindra and Mahindra said. His name is Anand Mahindra. How many of you have heard of Anand Mahindra? Raise your hand up if you have heard about him. Thank you. He says this, that 94% of the engineers are unemployable, which means what is taught in college is this, what is required in the industry is this, and there is a gap in between. How many of you understand the skill gap? Give me a raise of hand if you get that. Thank you. And that's EduBridge is doing, right? EduBridge is filling that gap. It is filling that gap. It is providing that bridge that you can work in an industry. So what I want for you to realize is this. When you apply for a job, you need to know number one thing, which is the preparation to it, which is the idea to know what even Einstein says here, that let your learning not interfere with your education. These are two different things. What does this mean? I say your education is in science, but if your interest lies in commerce or arts, then don't let your education interfere with your learning. You might enjoy learning more in arts. Go and follow that instead of anything else. So when you apply for a job, the pre-thing, even before an interview, what you need to do is you need to understand this core principle that why are you applying for that job? Do you want to be a factory worker mindset person, or do you want to work in a place which makes you feel better? Because see, today, we don't have many options for different jobs, right? But if you end up in a wrong job, you would want to quit after 6 months and a year, and you would again come into the cycle of the same thing. So when you're starting your journey, choose what you love to do. Don't just directly take a job because that's the first one. Now, I know some of us come from a humble background, right? We don't have enough money at our house. We need to take the first job that comes in. So what is your responsibility? You take that job which comes up, but start looking out for things that you love to do, skill yourself in that, and then switch immediately to something that you love to do. Because in the long run, if you continue doing a job just for money, you would be stuck in a trap and you would not be able to come out of that. How many of you understand what I'm talking right now? Raise of hand if you get that. Thank you. So even before you prepare for an interview, think which companies is it that I want to work with and why. That's the pre-preparation. That's the pre-interview preparation you need to do. Okay. That was step number one. How many of you got a lot of value from step number one? Type V in the chat box. V for value. Let me see if you got some value from step number one. Great. Super. Thank you, Samudra. Thank you, Narmada, Abhinaya, Shushma, Pavitra, Karishma. I love that. Absolutely great. Thank you. Let's come to the second point. Now write this down in your book. If you see the word prepare, first one was P, right? And what was P for? Pre-interview research. That was P. Now let's come to R. What is R for? As you see on your screen, R is all about your resume. So please write down in your book, resume building. Resume building. Now, how many of you know what's a resume? Raise your hand up if you know what's a resume. Thank you. It's just like a profile, right? It's your portfolio. It's the work that you have done in your life so far. It's basically you in a printed page form. Who are you? If I ask Gaurav, who's Gaurav? Gaurav can show his resume and say, this is me. So basically it's you on paper. That's what a resume is. Okay. Now, I'm not going to go on a technicality of how do you do a resume. That's a different training altogether. But what I want you to realize is there is something called as canva.com, C-A-N-V-A, canva.com. And some of you might be aware of it. Just go to it and you can create a good resume from there. A lot of free templates which are available there. Okay. So once you create a resume, your work doesn't end there. Few people, they do not update their resume. They're very lazy. They only prepare one resume. They don't update small things. How many of you understand when I say people are lazy? Give me a raise of hand if you get that. Thank you. Some of you are smiling because you're like, Abhay, I am only lazy. I am that person. You know, I don't update. I'm very, very slow. And that's why I want you to realize nothing worse than an unupdated resume. So you need to always update. Okay. Now, once you are done with creating a resume, you need to then be prepared that what can be asked from the resume. So these are the 5 things you need to do here. And I'm going to pick one of you to read it for us. Because if I am reading, it is going through my system, right? But when you are reading, it is going through your system. So let me just ask one of you to read. And let's go ahead with Mercy. So Mercy, if you can unmute, and everybody, since we are going to have and invite someone to speak, everybody do this, raise your hand up, do this with me together. Raise your hand up, everyone. Look into your webcams, wave like this, and say, hi, Mercy.
Hi all, good morning. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. Thank you, Mercy. Can you read the first point for us?
Yeah. So create a good and reasoned resume for yourself, of yourself.
Yeah, thank you. So I think that's pretty much clear for everyone, right? Updated resume. That's point number one. Let's go to point number two. Please go ahead, Mercy.
Look at your resume and think what questions can be asked from it. Prepare your response and answers.
Thank you. This is an important one. Let's take a pause here. Everyone, lot of people lie in their resume. Now there is a problem. If you lie in your resume, for example, tomorrow if Pratima says, I have been a team leader, if I am an interviewer, I am going to catch in on that. I'll be like, okay, Pratima, tell me, can you give me an example where you have been a leader? And then she'll be like, okay, oh my God, like, I don't know. Okay. So don't lie on your resume. Why? Because questions will be based on what you write in the resume. So you need to be very, very careful about what goes into the resume. Okay. Just don't Google copy paste information and content. No, Google is for template. It's for the background. The content inside depends upon you, and that has to be the truth. So questions will be asked on what you are typing into the resume. So if you say, I have worked on a project, what project? Questions will be asked on that. So you need to be ready for that. Okay. Is everybody clear with the second point? A thumbs up if you're clear with the second point. Great. Thank you. Let's go to point number 3. Can you read it for us, Mercy?
Find someone experienced or matured to take your interview as a simulation. Mark.
Yeah, thank you. So it is very, very important for you to give a mock interview. A lot of people think, boss, we are all the stud people in the world. We are the swag people in the world. We don't need mock interviews. We will directly kill it. We'll directly nail it. Don't do that. Always and always have a mock interview done. And trust me, who do you go to for a mock interview? Someone who can give you a honest feedback. Don't go to a person who thinks that you are the best child in the world. No. And I'll give you an example. If I go to my mother and if I'm wearing something which is not good, if my beard is not good, if my hairstyle is not good, and if I go in front of my mom, how am I looking? My mom will be Sundar, Khub Chan, very nice you're looking, best child in the world. How many of you realize mothers come from a place of love? If you get that, give me a raise of hand if you get that. Thank you. So they, no matter how good or bad you are, they won't give you an honest reflection. They will always try to protect you. They'll always be like, no, you are good. So you figure out who are these people in your life. Figure out 3 such people. These can be your teachers. These can be your mentors. This can be your friends, but friends who are honest, who want you to improve. There are 2 types of friends which we usually have, right? One, what we call as good friends who genuinely want to improve with you. And the second, what we call as a party friend who just want to have fun with you. That's it. They don't care about your growth. If you go to a party friend and ask for a feedback, they'll be like, Aisa kuch nahi hota hai. There is nothing like that. This is all a scam. Don't do it. Enjoy life. That is what it is. They are in that zone. How many of you have party friends like that? Raise your hand up if you have party friends. Great. Thank you. And then you have genuine good friends that when you ask for a feedback, hey, how am I looking? They'll be like, no, you need to do this. Your haircut is not good. Your shirt can be different. They'll give you a good feedback to improve. And that is something which is very, very crucial. Okay. So Debbie has a question. Can you explain something about mock interview? Yes, I'm doing that right now. So everybody, what do you need to do? In your book, write down, figure out 3 people who can take your mock interview. Figure out 3 people who can take your mock interview. And you can do it amongst yourself as well. So Mercy can take a mock interview for Narmada. Narmada can take a mock interview for Saurav. Saurav can take for Lokeshwari. Mutually help each other out and give honest feedback. So that's very, very important. Okay. Mercy, let's read the next one.
Get a detailed feedback from the interviewer. What you did well, what you need to do differently, and what you should not do the next time.
Yes, thank you, Mercy. So write this down, next point in your book. Get a feedback. Get a feedback. Very, very important. Now, if you go to your mother or to your father, the feedback they'll give is good. Nice. Good. How many of you realize this is the feedback you will get? Give me a raise of hand if you get that. Thank you. Now understand this: good, nice, these words have no meaning because they are very generic. You need a specific feedback, right? And that's exactly what you need to do. And that is why, how do you ask for a feedback? You need to ask these three things. Number one, you need to, if your mother is taking your interview, tell her beforehand that, you know what, mom, you're going to take my interview. Give me a feedback on these three things. Number one, what did I do well? Number two, what should I stop doing? And number three, what should I do differently? For example, if you took my interview and if you are giving a feedback, then you should be like, okay, number one, what did you do well? So you should be like, okay, you know what, Abhay, I love your confidence. That was something which was great. So you need to do that in your next interview. So that's working well. That's the number one. What do you need to stop? Okay, Abhay, when you were speaking, you were moving a lot. So don't move a lot. You need to stop moving. So you need to stop doing that. Okay. And number three, what can you do differently? So Abhay, when you were speaking, you were looking at left, you were looking at right, at the bottom. So do that differently and look into the webcam. How many of you realize such concrete feedbacks would help me in my next interview? How many of you get that? A raise of hand if you get that. Thank you. And that is why it is very, very important that you do this feedback in a very specific way. Okay. Let's read the last point. Go ahead.
Start from step 1 again and read step 4.
Yeah, thank you. So once you complete the entire cycle with the first person, then you go to your second person and then to a third person. What does this mean? Typically, before any actual interview, you should have given 3 mock interviews. If you have an interview next month with a company, in this 1 month, give 3 mock interviews. Catch hold of 3 people, tell them, give me a feedback and give a mock interview. This is what is going to help you. If you think I will go spontaneous, spontaneity works 1 time, 2 time. It won't work every time. What works for you is a structured principle way of how to do it. And that is something which is important. Okay. So how many of you got to know how to prepare basis of your resume? If you got that, give me a thumbs up and you can type yes in the chat box as well. So I know that you have got it. Yes, thank you, Mercy. Thank you, Narmada. Let's everyone give a round of applause for Mercy for helping us out with the slide. Thank you, Mercy. Okay, wonderful. Some of you are digitally clapping. Some of you are actually clapping. Some of you are clapping as if you're doing a Meherbani. Some of you are like, okay, whatever, Mercy. Yeah. So don't do that, okay? Whatever you're doing, do it with intent. If you're doing it, give a big applause. If you don't want to, it's okay. But don't be half-heartedly in between, okay? Remember that. And also remember the law of karma. How many of you know the law of karma? If you know it, raise your hand up. You know, what you give is what you get. And that is why it is very, very important to support and give more today, okay? By the way, how many of you are having fun while you're learning right now? A thumbs up if you're having fun while you're learning right now. That's great. Superb. Thank you. So let's go to the third process. We are in the middle of a 7-stage process. Prepare, P-R-E-P-A-R-E. We are done with P, which was the pre-interview research. Then we are up to R, which was resume-based questions, which we did. Now comes the third one, E, which is nothing but, write this down in your book, express to impress. Express to impress. Now, the major problem with a lot of us is that we do this opposite. We try to impress in the interview, which is a problem. How many of you understand when I say don't impress, just express? How many of you get that? Raise your hand up if you get that. Thank you. Let me help you out with it. See, in an interview, I'm going to select you. Why? For who you are, not for who you are showing you are. I'll give it a minute for you to let it sink in your head. I will choose you in our company for who you are, not for who you showing you are, who you are trying to show you are. I don't want the fake you. I want the real you. How many of you understand that? A thumbs up if you understand that. Thank you. And how do you create a good impression? If you express yourself well in the first 4 seconds. Now, I heard Pratibha say earlier that, in the first 90 seconds, the result is decided for an interview, right? People judge you on the basis quickly. What I have observed is, in any interview, the first impression usually takes 4 seconds. And in that 4 seconds, the interviewer decides mentally whether this candidate is right or wrong. Now, what does this mean? This means there is a high probability that your selection or not selection is decided in the first few seconds itself. Now, I know some of you are wondering, Abhay, how is it possible? Like, we have given interviews for 30 minutes, for 40 minutes, for 1 hour. How many of you have given such interviews, or you have seen someone who has given a 1 hour interview? Raise your hand up if you have heard or seen. Thank you. But then the question is, if such a long interview, but if the interviewer selects in the first few seconds, then why such a long interview, right? Now, understand this. The battle, when you go for an interview, the battle is not between you and the interviewer. No, you are the interviewee, right? It's not between interviewee and the interviewer. No, the real battle is between interviewer and interviewer's mind. I'll say that once again. This is an interesting concept if you get it. The real battle is between the interviewer and the interviewer's mind. So you are nowhere in the picture. What does this mean? If tomorrow, if I see Sandeep has come for an interview, in the first few seconds, I'm going to make a judgment for Sandeep in my head. And that judgment is, oh yes, this guy is good, I'll take him in. And for the rest 40 minutes, I will just ask questions to find and justify my logical mind. Ki boss, see, I told you he's the right person. Now you got the logical reason. Great. Now let's take him in. How many of you realize the battle is between the interviewer and his or her mind? If you get that, give me a thumbs up if you get that. Thank you. So I want you to understand this. How do you express yourself well in the first few seconds? You do it by a step of 4 simple things. Number 1, smile. Write this down in your book. The first way to create a killer impression, to express yourself, is to smile. And some people don't smile. It's as if there's a 50% GST on smiling, right? You just won't smile. You want to save your taxes. Don't do that. Smile as much as you can. Even right now, some of you are smiling very controlled. You're like, oh my God, I can't laugh. No, I can't. Why? It's okay if you smile. There's no problem in that. And you know why you should smile? Write this down in your book, a very important line. A smile is the shortest distance. A smile is the shortest distance between two people. I'll repeat one more time. A smile is the shortest distance between two people. How many of you, when you're writing this, you can understand the meaning behind it? Give me a raise of hand if you understand. Thank you. A smile helps you to connect. Take a look at your Bollywood, Hollywood, Tollywood, Mollywood, South Indian, North Indian, any movie in the world. There's a simple concept. Hasi to fussy. How many of you have heard of that before? Raise your hand up if you have heard of that before. Yeah, thank you. What does it mean? Simply, if you smile and if the other person smiles, there's a connection which is established. And that is what is important in an interview. So always and always smile. There's a difference between smiling and laughing. You don't have to laugh. You have to just smile. A smile is more natural, peaceful. There is no geometric meaning to smile, okay? That 30 degrees, your teeth should be shown. No. Just be yourself. Be as calm as you can, and the smile will help you. It will go a long way. So if you want to clear an interview, keep a smile on your face. Second thing, how do you express well in an interview? Second thing, what you need to do is to maintain eye contact. Write this down in your book, eye contact. A lot of people are shy in an interview because they are not confident. And that is why when you ask a question, they will either look down and speak, or they'll either look up at the ceiling fan wondering, what am I doing in my life? Or they'll just look left and right, but they will not look into the eyes of the interviewer. How many of you understand what I'm speaking? Raise your hand if this has happened and you have seen this. Thank you. So what you want to do is you want to look into the eyes of the interviewer. And it's not as easy as it seems, right? Even now, if I say, okay, I'm going to pick any one of you to speak, I will see some of you not looking at the camera. You will be here and there. You'll be like, don't choose me, don't choose me. Because we are not used to speaking. We are not used to making eye contact. But you have to, okay? That's an important aspect. It shows your confidence. When you look into someone's eye, you are like, you know what? I know this and I'm here. I'm ready. That is a confidence which is seen through an eye contact. Now, when it comes to eye contact, I'm going to give you a NLP tip. What is NLP? I'm a neuro-linguistic practitioner, which means I know something about brain science, how humans work. And I'm going to tell you a technique by which we as interviewers or people at a panel We decide whether somebody will come in or not. Why? Because we can observe you and we can tell you whether you are speaking the truth or a lie. I'll repeat it one more time. When I ask you a question, just by looking into your eyes, I can tell whether you're speaking the truth or a lie. How many of you want to know how I can tell that? Give me a raise of hand if you want to know how. Great, super. I can see a lot of hands going up. The people who speak a lot of lie are the first one to raise their hand. They're like, hi, yaar, I speak so much. I need to know how not to do it, right? So here's the part of it. Pay attention to this. Whenever you're speaking, and this comes from NLP, this is proven science. Whenever you're speaking, and if you look at the top and at the right-hand side when you're speaking, I'll say one more time. Whenever you're speaking, if you look at the top and the right-hand side of your mind, it means that you are accessing the creative area of your mind. Your brain is divided into left and right, right? Left is the analytical, the logical one, the numbers. Right is the creative part. So when you're looking at the top and the right, this means you're using the creative part, which means you're making a khichdi, which means you're cooking up a story, which means you're imagining and creating and answering, which means this is not the truth. This is an effort. You're scripting. You're a script writer. And if I see you answering in that way, I'll be like, acha. And then I'm going to catch hold and ask you more questions. How many of you now know what I mean? Give me a thumbs up if you get that. Thank you. So how do I know if you're saying the truth? If I ask you a question, and all of you do that right now, okay? Just answer and think and answer. If I ask you, what did you do on last, New Year? What did you do at New Year's Eve? If I ask you that, like, where would your reaction go? Some of you are looking straight, some of you are looking down, some of you are looking down towards the left side and wondering, yeah, what I was doing that day. Where are you looking? Bottom and left. What is bottom and left? Bottom are all the real life experiences which you have had. And bottom left is the logical mind, which means if I'm asking you a question and if you're looking down and on the left-hand side, this is the truth. Because you're looking at the past experiences which has happened and then you're bringing it up and then you maintain eye contact and then you speak. How many of you are learning something fun and exciting and useful? Give me a thumbs up if yes. Thank you. And next time when you talk to your friends, just ask them and casually observe where are they looking. If they're looking top right, you're like, you're lying. Tell me the truth. And if they're looking down, then that's based on a life experience which has happened. If they're looking at bottom and left, that is from the past, which means that yes, somewhere it has happened. It's the truth. How many of you got a lot of value from this part? Type V in the chat box, V for value. Great. Thank you, Jyoti. Thank you, Pavitra, Lokeshwari, Sandhya, Jyotsna. I love that. I love when all of you take those efforts to put Y in the chat box, put V in the chat box. So this was the second, make eye contact. Let's go to the third, write this down. Handshake. Handshake. Very, very important in an interview. Now, since it's a COVID era times and you can't shake hands, or rather it would be a crime if you do it, right? Because you're passing on the germs to the other person and all of this thing which is happening in the world. And if it's a virtual interview, obviously this third case won't be true. But in an offline world, let's say if the world comes back to a normal and things are good, you shake hand. Now, why do you shake hand? Number one, it gives a sense of physical strength. It gives a sense that I know who I am and I'm strong enough to do this job. It's a sense that you belong here. It's authority. It's very, very important. But how some of you shake hands, I've observed over a period of time. Some people shake hands with both hands. If there's this hand from you, then I will use both hands. How many of you have seen such people? Raise your hand up if you have seen such people. Thank you. Now, that's a wrong way to shake hand. And you know why? Because you are automatically putting both your hands in front of them. It's as if you're requesting, you're pleading. It's as if, please give me a job, I'll be jobless. It's like that. How many of you realize that's not the way to do it? Give me a raise of hand if you get that. Thank you. Because that's, if you're doing a double handshake, you are showing I am small, you are big, I need you. And if you are desperate and needy, nobody wants you in the company. So no double handshake. So how do some people shake hands? They shake hands to crush the finger of the other person. It's as if they went to a gym, they built a body, and now they want to show how strong they are. That's called as a bone crusher. Never ever do that. That shows dominance. That shows that I own you. That shows I am over you. No, never ever do that. A normal handshake, which is good enough, which is confident, that shows that you are confident. Have you ever got a chance in life, if you get, shake hand with any of the military, the army, the air force, any of the defense personnel? If you have ever done that, How many of you see a difference in their shake hand? Raise your hand up if you have seen a difference. Okay, I can see a few hands going up. Thank you. If you haven't get a chance in life, if you ever meet, shake hand. The moment they shake hand, you will be like, whoa, this guy is solid. This lady is amazing. Just with that shake hand. So it shows a lot of trust and confidence. And that is why this is something which is good. And number 4, write this down in your book. Greeting, Greeting, greeting. So you need to greet the interviewer. Say, hello, sir. Hello, ma'am. Good evening. Good afternoon. I hope you're doing well. This, that. You build up like a conversation. Let there be a greeting. So maintain eye contact. Make sure you smile. Give a handshake. Speak. Let there be a conversation. See, most interviews have to be a discussion. They don't have to be an interview. And for the discussion, you need to speak up, right? You need to be as calm and casual as you can be. And these things would help you to express yourself in a cool, calm way. How many of you get that? A thumbs up if you get that. Thank you. Excellent. Wonderful. So this was your third step, which was PRE. E was for expressing to impress. Now we come to the next part, the most important aspect of any interview. You need to be a patient listener. You need to have patience to listen to an interviewer when the person is asking questions. Because if you don't have patience, you are going to embarrass yourself. You're going to create a moment wherein you feel, oh my God, if I had a wall, I would want to bang my head on the wall. Because how did I say this? I should have been a better listener. How many of you know listening is important? Give me a raise of hand if you get that. Thank you. I'll give you my live example, okay? This was way back when I was in my college, I think second year of my college, okay? And in second year of my college, there was a mock interview wherein I was sitting with a couple of my friends, and the interviewer was like a panel. There were 3 people interviewing, and we were 2, me and my friend, giving the interview. So far, are you with me? Give me a thumbs up if so far you are with me. Great. So I'm in second year of my college. I'm sitting with a friend, and there are 2 of them who are taking our interview, and they are asking a question. Now they ask the question, what's your name? This, that, all done. Then they ask the question to me. And the question was, Abhay, what are your thoughts on euthanasia? I'll repeat the question. They asked, Abhay, what are your thoughts on euthanasia? Now, what did I hear? Now, first things first, what is euthanasia? It's a word which starts with E. It is EUTH, euthanasia, which means mercy killing. What is mercy killing? Which means if you know a patient is not going to recover, if the doctor has said this person is brain damaged, he will never recover, then why to waste the resources of a hospital, like a bed and oxygen and all of that? Better that we take him off the ventilator, or better that we apply for mercy killing, which means we purposely take it out so that the person can rest in peace. This is a concept called as euthanasia, okay? And it's not legal in India, but somewhere it's still in the process. So they ask me, it's a very serious topic, right? How many of you see it's a serious topic? Give me a raise of hand if you see that. Thank you. But now, your dear friend Abhay, what did he hear when he was in second year of college? When they asked the question, Abhay, what are your views about euthanasia? I heard quickly, because I wanted to speak, I heard, Abhay, what are your views about youth in Asia? Youth in Asia. This is what I heard, which is young people in Asia. And I'm like, yeah, sir, actually youth, there are 27% of this population who are young. Most of them go to US to do masters. They're always in the clubs on a weekend. And these people do this, do that. And the panel is looking at me and like, what is wrong with you? What was the question? And I was like, the youth in Asia, right? They go outside, they go to different countries. That's what youth in Asia do. And she's like, that's not the question. I'm like, what was the question? They're like, thank you, the interview is over. How many of you know this is a big mistake which you can do as well? Raise your hand up if you get that. Thank you. Luckily for me, that was a mock interview. And the teacher next time sat with me, explained me everything, saying in an interview, just speaking is not good enough. Listening is even more important. So you need to be a very patient listener. You need to listen really, really well. And only then you need to speak. If you're just speaking for the sake of replying, it's not going to help in an interview. Always listen well. So no, first you need to listen, then you understand, and then you respond. You don't have to reply. There is a difference between reply and respond. What is reply? Reply is instant. If I am like, if I'm like punching Saurav will punch me back. That's a reply. What is respond? Respond is when something happens to you, you take a moment, you understand why it happened, the meaning behind it, and then when you do in something in return, a reaction, that becomes your response. So the easiest difference for you, how do you know if you are replying or responding? A reply is quick, a response is after 5 seconds. Is after 5 seconds. Remember that in your head. So next time when your friend calls you with a bad name or teases you, just say to yourself, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's it. And then what you do is a response. But if you immediately, if someone say, oh no, you know what? You are a cow. No, you are a cow. That's not like response, right? That's like reply. When someone says something, take those 5 seconds, you will calm down and then, okay, you know what? I don't agree, but thank you. Great. That's a response where you're calmer and not just replying like a stimulus. I pinch and you scream. No, that's not how it is. How many of you now understood the importance of being a good listener, a patient listener? A thumbs up if you got that. Thank you. And make sure you do that in the interview. Very, very important. Okay. So what we have done so far is PREP. We have done 4 stages out of the prepare, and we have 3 more to go. How many of you, it's a gut check time right now. We are halfway done with our session. How many of you are learning something and having fun while learning? Give me a double thumbs up. One is fun and one is for learning. And you can type yes in the chat box as well. Thank you for all those who gave a double thumbs up. I like how, you have Mitali who's just waving. She's like, yeah, she's almost dancing, that we are having a lot of fun while learning, which is great. Wonderful. So let's continue with the next 3, which are remaining for us. The next one, which is the 4th or the 5th one, is then to be an active speaker. You have to be an active speaker. And this is where we are going to do an activity to understand whether all of you can actually implement this. Okay. Being an active speaker, what does this mean? Some people speak because they want to speak. And some people speak because they want to contribute. How many of you understand the difference between only speaking and contributing? Give me a raise of hand if you understand that. Okay, a few hands are up, a few aren't, so I'll help you. See, just speaking is what that somebody said that in a group discussion or in an interview, the more you speak, the better you are. So I will speak more, speak more. No, that's not how it is. If you speak one thing, but if you give a lot of value to the person, then that thing is going to be much more important. So it is not about the quantity, it's about the quality. So you need to be an active speaker, not just any speaker, an active speaker. And how do you do that? We follow a simple technique, which now we are going to go ahead with, which is called as the STAR technique. Write this down in your book, STAR technique. And let me have one of you to read it for us. Let's go ahead with Saurav Pandit. Saurav, if you can unmute and everybody raise your right hand up, wave and say, hi, Saurav. Okay, great. Thank you. I can see a lot of people waving hands. Yes. Saurav, if you can say yes, so I know that you are audible. Okay, so I can see you, Saurav, but your voice is not audible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
The first situation. Describe the situation.
Yeah, let's start with the first one. What is S? S is nothing but the situation. Okay, and in a moment, I am going to divide you into a small breakout room where you'll be 4 people in a room. Okay, I'll tell you when to do that in a moment, and I'll tell you what you have to do. But first, write this technique down, STAR. What is S? S is nothing but a situation. What situation? I'll tell you everything in detail. For now, just write it down and listen well. Patient listener, remember that. Okay, so write down number 1, describe the situation. S, that's it. Let's look at the second one. Saurav, can you read that?
Task. What was your task in this situation?
Yes, thank you. So what was the task? What happened during that situation? What is that? I'll give you an example. Don't worry. Let's go to the next one. Can you read the third?
What was the action you did?
What was the action that you took? Thank you. So everyone write this down. A is for action. And can we have the last one? R?
Results. What were the results?
What were the results? Yes, thank you so much. So Saurav, you can go back on mute, and everyone, let's give a round of applause for Saurav. Thank you. Okay, so then what is the STAR situation and how do you use it when you speak in an interview? For example, I give you my own example, okay? If somebody asks me that, Abhay, what are your skills? What are you good at? And if I say that, I am a team leader, that is my skill, then what will be their question? That how do you say that you are a team leader? Tell me more about it. So instead of just saying that I am this, I am that, I use the star technique. And how do I do that? I first give them a situation. So let me take you back. Imagine I'm in college and I'm applying for an interview, right? So let me take you the interviewer back and saying, so there was a situation during our college festival wherein we needed to have 3,000 people on the ground at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. This was the situation. Why? Because a star cast of a movie, Priyanka Chopra, Ranveer Singh, and we had Arjun Kapoor, the star cast of a movie Gunde, they were going to come in the college, but they wanted 3,000 people in the afternoon. So this was the situation. Like, what do we do? What do we do so that we can have that? So there was a task which we had to do, wherein I wanted to go and talk to the principal so that they can allow everyone to not attend lecture and come and attend on the ground. And then once it's done, they can go back in the lecture. So that was a task which I had to do. Okay. Then what did I do? I took an action. I went in front of the principal and first I said, ma'am, so-and-so, these starcasts are coming and we need 3,000 students. So can you give one lecture off, 1 hour off, and can everybody go on the ground? So obviously the teacher was like, no. That is not something we do. We can't compromise on academics. But then I used my skill of leadership and communication. See how I'm putting up the skill in a form of a story. That's the story which you need to do. Okay. So I used my skills. And what did I do? I sat in front of ma'am and I was like, ma'am, when Priyanka Chopra, the biggest celebrity that India has produced abroad, when Priyanka Chopra comes on the campus with Ranveer Singh, the Filmfare Award winner, and Arjun Kapoor, the Kapoor of Kapoors, when they come on stage in our campus, we wanted someone to give a bouquet to them. And then in front of them will be a media crowd of 100 people, including Times of India, Bombay Times, YouTube, this and that. And they'll be recording. And we wanted, ma'am, as a principal of a college, if you could come and give that bouquet and everybody would cover and take a picture. And ma'am, your post will be in all newspapers across the country. Ma'am, we want this to happen. Can please this happen? Can you be a part of this? So I took my communication and leadership skills. And what was the result? She said yes. We had all of them on stage. She came up, she gave the bouquet. The media took a picture. It was printed in Times of India and all publications. Her Facebook DP even today is that picture with Ranveer Singh and Priyanka Chopra. And this is how I displayed my communication and leadership skills when I was in my college. And that is why I believe that I've got good communication and leadership skills and I can work well in the company. How many of you see now this is more convincing when you're speaking? This is active speaking. Give me a raise of hand if you get that. Thank you. Instead of me just saying, yeah, I've got leadership skills, a lot. I speak better. My communication is good. Nobody wants to listen to you. They want to listen to your story. And that is exactly what you're going to do right now. So this is going to help you to understand, okay, that how do you put up? So I'm going to give you 3 minutes right now. In those 3 minutes, just think of that one quality of yours, which you want to talk about in an interview. What is Narmada good at? What is Sumi good at? What is Anusha good at? What is Jayashree good at? Just ask yourself that one quality. When I ask myself, I get the answer as communication. I get the answer as leadership skills. What do you get an answer as? Just think of it in your head. The moment you think it, then think of a situation. That where in life has this happened and where in life have you used that? What was the task? What did you have to do? The challenge, the constraint, the deadline. What was it about? Think over it. And then what action did you take? What did you do? And what was the result that you got? Was it an achievement? Did it work out for you? Okay. So this is what we are going to do. Just think of any one quality and just look back at life. Take 3 minutes and get your quality ready. And once that quality is ready, put it in the chat box. And once you put it, I will then tell you when you have to go in a breakout room. Okay. Don't worry. Don't be in a hurry. For now, you have 3 minutes. Once you're done, just answer it into the chat box. What is that one quality that comes to your mind that you are good at? Just think about it right now. And if it's ready, put it in the chat box. Some of your expressions are telling me, Abhay, I have no quality in life, zero, I'm useless. No, that's not the truth, right? You are here, which means you have something. Some of you might be shy. Don't be shy. Just put it out. Karishma, I love that. Team management. That's a great quality to have. And I would be happy for you to be a part of my team if you have that. Okay. But just you saying you have doesn't make sense, right? You need to tell me in the form of a story, which is the STAR technique. You tell me a story which shows that Karishma has team management, and I'm going to buy that. That's what I'm going to believe. So I hope Karishma just work around that story in your head. Jayashree says the situation. Okay, good listener. Okay, so you are a good listener, Mahuya. That's an important thing. Tell me where in life. Tell me a story where you were a good listener. Okay, you need to work on that. We have Tamluk who says that situation. You can, problem solving is your skill. That's a key skill to have in a job interview. So you can tell me how can you do that. Faiz says I'm very hardworking. Give me an example, Faiz, where you were hardworking. Okay. So I guess now everybody knows. Yeah. We have Tumpa Samantha who says singing. Good. It can be anything. Tell me a story when you sang well and what result did you achieve there? Tell me that. Honesty, adaptive in nature, punctuality. Great. Thank you. But listen and understand one thing. If you give your hobbies as a skill, then it will make me wonder, how can I use your singing in my company to increase my business? So it might not fit, right? So when you're giving skill, give something which will help the company as well. So please remember that. Leading, loyalty, confidence to something new. Excellent. So this is what we are going to do right now. In a moment, we are going to divide you into a breakout room of 4 people. And Pratibha would be taking charge. And when you divide yourself into a team of 4 people, you will get a link. Just click on that and you will go into that particular room. You'll get an option. Should I join this room? Just click yes. There you will find 2 or 3 of your friends. I'm going to give you a total of 8 minutes. That's it, 8 minutes. And once time is up, I will be putting a message saying your time is about to end in 30 seconds. After 8 minutes, you're going to come back to this original room. I'll repeat what I'm saying again. This is the main room of hundreds of people. I'm going to divide you into smaller rooms, smaller groups of 4 people. And you have 8 minutes. What do you need to do in those 8 minutes? Let's say if Mitali, Lokeshwari, Sumi, and Rama, let's say if they are in one team, when you are into a new team, when you go into a new room, Lokeshwari would start speaking. Okay, so here's what it is. I was in a situation, and then this was a task, this was an action I took, and this was a result that I got. She will share her story. Once it's done, then Mitali will share her story in the STAR method. Then Sumi will share her, and then Rama will share her. That's how all 4 will get a chance to speak, but maximum for 2 minutes each. So total you have 8 minutes only. Is this clear with everyone? A thumbs up if that is clear with everyone. Thank you. You just give your story. What is your STAR technique? Where, which skill? If you say, I'm honest. So Sheila will just say, okay, there was a situation wherein somebody was asking for bribe, but I was there and I refused. I did not give it. And that is how this happened. And that is the result which I got. So I'm honest in my life. That's it. That's how you can give your own stories. Okay. So on the count of 3, Pratibha, can we divide the entire group into short rooms, small rooms of 4 people each? The time is 12, 12, 12, 13, 12, 21. 12:21 is when we come back into this room. Okay. So please go ahead, Pratibha, and you can divide. And all you need to do
Give
is
me a minute. I'm doing that.
no problem. Yeah. As participants, the only thing which you need to do is just to share. Don't worry about the technicality. Don't worry about the language. Don't worry if you are right or wrong. Just share. Where in life have you displayed that one quality which you say you have? If you have the quality which is of being confident, just give an example that, when a teacher asked in a class who would want to speak, out of 60 people, everybody was tense. The situation was who will speak, but I raised my hand up and I took that as a task that I'm going to speak. I spoke well. And as a result, I got a round of applause and everybody stood and appreciated. You see how I've given a story right now? That's what you need to do when you put up your quality. Okay. So Pratibha, whenever you are ready, let me know.
Yeah, just a second. I'm doing that.
Yeah.
I'll just let you know.
Yes. And if you are all done quickly sharing, then you can always join back in the main room. So you need not worry. I'll be there in between, just jumping into rooms and checking if you are speaking or what's happening. But don't be shy. Don't think my English is not good. What will I speak? No, just join. Okay, go ahead.
Done.
Yeah. Everybody click and join your rooms now. Okay.
I guess everyone is out now.
Yes, we are all back. I will just wait for a few seconds till I can see all of you again on my screen. How many of you got a chance to speak in the breakout room? Raise your hand up if you got a chance to speak. Thank you. Jyotsna, I can see your hand up. Lokeshwari as well. Anusha, yes. Techno Spark 5 Pro, I can see your hand up as well. Mohammed Barvish, Infocus Turbo 5. Okay. All of
Yes,
you
sir.
are very
Sir, I speak at 2 breakout rooms, sir. I
Oh,
have 2 chances.
that's really nice. Good. You got a good experience of how to speak, right? Which
Yes,
is
sir.
okay. So just wait for a few more seconds. Let everybody else also join in. I went to a few breakout rooms. I was around a part of, I guess, around 10 rooms, which I went to. I was just hopping and I could see in most of the rooms you were speaking, people were speaking. One room, no, nobody was speaking. I don't know what was happening, but for majority of the part, you were all doing well. And for that, I want to appreciate you. So all of you, please go ahead and give yourselves a round of applause. Well done. Okay, because I know it's not easy to speak, right? How many of you agree it's not easy to speak in front of people? If you agree, give me a raise of hand. If you agree that it's not easy to speak in front of people. Thank you. I can see a lot of raise of hands. And you know why? Here's the reason why. You can tell me in the chat box, okay, everyone? You can type it in the chat box and tell me what, according to you, is the number one fear in the world? What, according to you, is the number one fear in the world? Please type it in the chat box. Let me see what answers do we get here. Okay, public speaking, crowd, communication, nervousness, honesty, rejection. Good. Kya kahenge log? Yeah, Mithali, you know, what will people say? People judging, discussion, nervousness, language, fear. Okay, committing a crime, whether to speak correct language. Great. Thank you. Public speaking, wonderful. Here's what it is. Pay attention to this and you will find it interesting to understand this, okay? The number one fear in the world is public speaking. But here's what it is. The number two fear in the world is death. Now let's take a minute to understand the gravity of this statement. Number one is public speaking and number two is death. So what does this mean? It simply means if I go and tell to say dragon, you know what? You're going to die. Dragon will be like, "Theek hai yaar, what's the big deal? Whoever is born will be dead. So it's okay." But if I say dragon, you're going to speak in front of 10,000 people, dragon will be, you better kill me. No, like why? Why this way? How many of you understand what I'm speaking? Give me a raise of hand if you get that. Thank you. And most of you overcame that fear when you were speaking, right? In front of maybe random people. And that's how you practice that. In an interview, just use this technique when you speak. And trust me, most of your concerns will be taken care of. How many of you find this technique very, very useful? Type U in the chat box, U for useful. If you found the star technique useful. Thank you. Absolutely great. Wonderful. Great. I can see a lot of people typing in a lot of things. We can see Dhanati, we can see Jayapratha, Anjumul, Shashanka, Mohammed Shushma, Narmada. Great. Thank you for typing it in. So now in the 7-stage process of prepare, we are done with P-R-E-P. And now we come towards the part, even A is done. Now we come towards the part of R, which is the second last word, which is very, very important. Okay. Now, what do you say and what do you understand when I say rewarding facts? On the next slide, I'm going to show you 12 facts of an interview. 12 facts which you need to take care, and these are rewarding. If you understand this, it's like a reward for you. You would thank me later for these, okay? Very, very important. So I want you to please pay attention to this. Click a picture if you want and make notes if it's important, okay? I'm going to ask any one of you to read it. Let's go ahead with Saba Akoji. Saba, if you can unmute and everybody raise your right hand up, wave and say hi, Saba.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Saba. Hi. I hope you are enjoying and learning.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir.
Can you read the first one? Go ahead.
Facts. What you wear and how you carry yourself matters.
Thank you. So I want everybody to know this is a fact. What you wear in an interview will show your intent. It shows your seriousness. If you wear a casual thing, it means I don't value the company. But if you wear something which is formal, it shows you're serious. How many of you get the first fact? A thumbs up if you get that. Thank you. Let's go to the second one, Sabha.
Vibes and energy are proven in science and it exists even in an interview.
Thank you. What are vibes? Vibe is nothing but your energy. So in an interview, if you're like this, good morning, sir. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I'm very energetic person. What? You aren't, right? How many of you realize your vibe will decide whether you are getting the job or not? A thumbs up if you get that. Thank you. You know, when some people walk into the room brightens up, right? Everybody's like, oh my God, wow. And when some people walk, you're like, oh my God, I hope he doesn't look at me. That is what vibe is. Okay. Let's go to the third one. Please go ahead, Sabha.
There is hardly anything worse than a fake behavior or put on behavior.
Thank you. Never act fake in an interview. It can be seen like this. How do people act fake? They fake their accent. Sometimes when they speak, they'll speak in a way, you know what, I went to California for 5 years and I was there. I was like, boss, you stay here in Mumbai, Thane. You can't get any better than this, right? So you want to realize, never ever fake things in an interview. People will catch like this. So never ever do that. So thank you, Sabha. Let's give a round of applause for Sabha. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Let me now go to the next one. Let me go to Sandhya M. Everybody raise your right hand up, wave and say, hi, Sandhya.
Hi, sir.
Yes, Sandhya. Can you read the next one? Fourth, fifth, and sixth.
Yes, sir. Be your best and be yourself.
Thank you. See, remember this. The reason why I'm going to select Sandhya over Pavitra, over Sandeep, over Jyoti is not the technical skills. After a point, all of you will have the same technical skills. But what will I select on? On the basis of your attitude, your uniqueness. What makes Sandhya different is the reason why I will select her. Remember that. So never forget your uniqueness, okay? Don't just fit in because everybody else is doing. You're not a factory. If you are different, that's what we want in an interview. Let's go to the next one.
A good interviewer appreciates originality and geniusness.
Thank you. See, original answers are always appreciated in your interview. Don't give copied answers. You know, a common question in an interview is what? That how do you see yourself in 5 years? And then you go on Google and type, the answer is in your position. How many of you have heard of that before? Raise your hand up if you have heard of that before. Thank you. If you say that in an interview, which I am taking, I'll be like, thank you. Here's the door. Take a left and bye. Take care. Why? Because these are all fractured. These are all structured. Something which is there already. This is not you. This is your research. And you are not your research, right? You are yourself. That's what is unique about you. So if you give me an honest answer there and you tell me, yeah, that's exactly what even Kapil says, right? Ki never ever make sure that you're putting in the mask in front of people. Just be yourself. That's something which is important. Mithali says how to find your uniqueness. Something which you feel makes you different from others. Think about that. That is your uniqueness. It can be anything. And that's different for each person. Sometimes something that you are shy about can also be your uniqueness. For example, my uniqueness is that I can paint a picture. I can be dramatic. I can use examples, give masala, marke examples. That's my, what I can say, uniqueness. But at the same time, that is something which makes me different and that I can use in an interview as well. So that's what you need to take care. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Can you read that for us?
Good manners take you a long way in life, even in an interview.
Yeah, thank you. Let's give a round of applause for Sandhya. Thank you for helping us out.
Thank you, sir.
So good manners go a long way. Even if you say, hello, sir, good morning, sir, thank you, sir, please, sir, yes, sir. These all are called magic words, right? Why magic words? Because they work every single time. And that's exactly why you need to ensure that you are honest in your answer. Never ever give a fake answer, okay? Let's go to the next person. Let me have Sumi Timong. Everybody raise your right hand up, wave and say, hi, Sumi. Okay. Yes, Sumi, can you read 7, 8, and 9?
Be a very good listener.
Yeah, I think we covered that. Thank you so much. Be an active listener. Always remember a patient one, okay? Yes, next one.
Prepare before an interview.
Yes.
Do adequate homework before an interview.
Yes, thank you so much. Let's give a round of applause for Sumi.
Thank you.
Thank you. You can go back being on mute. See how happy Sumi is, right? Sumi is like, oh my God, 100 people are clapping for me. Wow. That's the kind of support if you show to each other, then learning happens. Learning doesn't happen isolated, just being depressed, right? It happens when you're enjoying the process of learning. So remember that. So what you saw in point number 7, 8, and 9, you already know. Prepare really well. Now you know how to prepare the 7 stages, and also do a little homework about the company. If you are going to give an interview in, say, EduBridge, what do you know about EduBridge? Who's the founder? Where all are they present? What are they exactly doing? What problem are they solving? How can you add value? What was the latest achievement they have? Which award did they win? If you do all of this before you go for an interview, then when you start, you'll be like, I'm blessed if I can work with this company, because I recently saw you won an award here. I saw you opened an office in Hyderabad. The Pune office is doing really well. Then the interviewer is like, isko to sab pata hai. This person knows everything. So that's the kind of homework you need to do about that company. A raise of hand if you get that. Thank you. That's very, very crucial. So let's go to the next one, and let me ask someone else to read. Let's go with Techno Spark Pro 5. Techno Spark 5 Pro. What's your name? Can you unmute and me?
Shantanu Bhuya, sir.
Shantanu, everybody raise your right hand up, wave, and say hi, Shantanu. Thank you.
Sir.
So, Shantanu, can you read the last 3 points?
Okay, sir. If you cannot be on time, be early.
So, if you cannot be on time, be early. What does this mean? In an interview, the worst thing you can do is be on time. Worst thing. Now, you might wonder, be on time is a good thing, right? It's not good enough in an interview. No, you have to be before time. That's what you need to know always. Why? Because if you are a little late, it gives a signal that, Abhay, I don't value your time. I don't care for your time. I care for myself only. And that's why I'll come at my time. That's not something you do. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Point number 11.
What you do not say from your mouth can be known for other parts of your own body.
So your body language is very, very essential. Now, why is your body language essential? See, you need to understand from the person's body language what they are saying. I'll give you an example. Let's say if you are asking for your permission from your parents to go to a party with your friends at 10 o'clock in the night. And if your mother says this, okay, do what you want. How many of you realize the actual message behind do what you want? Tell me in the chat box. Should you go or should you not? Is it a yes or is it a no? Tell me in the chat box. If your mother says, do what you want, what does this mean? Thank you. Mitali says, don't go, don't even think, right? Everybody's saying no there. What does this mean? Your words are one thing, but your body language is everything. That's what even overpowers the words. Remember that. So in an interview, if the person is asking, are you nervous? And if you're like, no, I'm very confident. Are you confident? Yes. Then why are you moving so much? Why is your leg constantly tapping like this on the ground? Why is your chair moving? Why are you moving like this? See, all of that are signs of your, body language, which is very, very crucial in an interview. So always upright, maintain eye contact. Remember the first 4 seconds, right? That's a very, very crucial. How many of you got this point? Give me a thumbs up if you got this point. Thank you. And let's go to the last one, 12.
Always be dignified.
Always be dignified. Yes, thank you. Shantanu, you can go back on mute. Let's give a round of applause for him. Thank you, Shantanu. Now, what is dignified? Dignified is you need to show that you are a gentleman or a gentlewoman, which means if you're selected, you just say, thank you so much. If you're not selected, thank you so much. That's dignity. If you're not selected, hey, bakwas company, never hire this, that. No, that's not dignity, right? And if you're selected, oh, party, nacho. No, that's not dignity either. So dignity is irrespective of the result. You maintain your poise. You maintain who you are as a person. And that's important to accept the result that happens in an interview. How many of you got these rewarding facts? Give me a raise of hand if you got a lot of value from these facts. Excellent. Superb. Thank you. We now come towards the last part, the 7th step of our journey of making and cracking an interview. Write this down in your book. Evaluation. Evaluation. You need to evaluate yourself after you are done with the interview. Sometimes you may crack your first interview. Sometimes you may crack your second interview. Sometimes maybe your 12th interview. I went to 37 companies before I got 38th company on board for my trainings. I had to give that many interviews with the HR people. And I was like, I train, I do this. They're like, yeah, okay, fine. And then when I came back after the first interview, I was like, okay, where did I go wrong? Where can I improve? I improved that. I went to the second interview. I made a new mistake. I came back and I improved the new mistake. Third interview, new mistake. After 37 interviews, I have done enough mistakes to know what I can improve. So when I got the 38th client, after that, I knew what works. And now that when I use it with new clients, the rejection rate has gone extremely low. It's almost every time we crack a deal with win-win situation. How many of you realize it's important to accept the result of the interview? Raise your hand up if you get that. Thank you. And it's not that always you will win, right? So it's either you win or you learn. You never lose. So be ready to evaluate. How can you do that? I'll share a small template with you. Just take a picture of this. And when you take a picture later, take a printout and keep it with yourself. And after every interview, whenever you're done, just come back and fill this up for yourself. And you will start finding where are the problems that you have. How to fill this up? It is very simple. If you gave an interview, just come back and say, how was my eye contact? Was it excellent? I'll click excellent. Does it need improvement? Click on need improvement. That is something which is important, okay? But I want all of you to make sure that you're doing this as a process. Results in all spheres of life is important. If I will not improve, yeah, I know, right? So what Kapil is saying is true, that results are very, very crucial for you. But how much efforts are you willing to take for those results? That is what will determine the results. Remember, the results are like a fruit of a tree. If you want to change the fruit, you need to first change the root. Everybody type root in the chat box, ROOT, root in the chat box. I want all of you to realize, if you want different results, you need to take different efforts. Effort is the root, result is the fruit. You can't stand at an apple tree and say, apple yaar mango ho ja, convert to mango. No, that's what happened, right? Results won't change on the surface. You need to go deep down and change the root. So after every interview, come back and ask yourself these questions, fill this up, keep it to yourself, and that's how you can improve it every single time. How many of you realize this is an important step for your next interview? A thumbs up if you get that. Thank you. So you need to evaluate yourself. Okay, that's very, very important. That brings us towards the part of the 7 steps of an interview, cracking any interview that you want to give. Number 1, we start with P. Now type it in the chat box. What was the first P for? If you have made notes, then you have it to yourself, right? What was the first P for? Just go ahead and type it down. Mithali has a question that nowadays I feel that the selection of an interview is a blind process. No, very honestly, Mithali, that is not true. Even today, interviews are taken with seriousness. Why? Because you are going to join a company whose entire business depends upon you, right? And your work. So you need to prepare well. Don't take any interview lightly, okay? Yes, thank you, all of you who are typing in pre-interview research. Great. So you got the first P. What is the next one? R. Type it for R in the chat box. Karishma is very smart. She's already ready with the next one. She knows I'm going to ask it. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Resume building. Absolutely great. Well done. Thank you. What's the next one? P-R-E-P. We come back to P now. What was the third P? Thank you. Yes. Express to impress. Okay. So before that, yeah, P-R-E comes and next P. Thank you. You helped me with my English there. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. Express to impress. Very, very crucial. Remember the first 4 seconds. Smile, eye contact, handshake, and a greeting. Very, very important. What was the next one? P. Let's come to P. Yes, patient listener. You need to have patience. Sometimes when you know the answer, you can't keep the secret in your tummy. You want to throw it out, right? It's like this. If tomorrow Mercy sees Lokeshwari talking to a guy, she can't keep it in her tummy. Mercy has to say to 10 friends, hey, I saw Lokeshwari, I saw Lokeshwari. That's where you need to be patient. Just don't speak. Be a good listener, okay? After patient listening comes the next. What's that? Active speaker. I love that. I already see everybody typing in. Thank you so much, Sumi, Techno. Thank you, Shantanu, Sabha. I love it. In active speaking, you use a technique. What was that technique? It was a 4-letter technique. What was that? Put it in the chat box. What's the technique that we use in active speaking? Thank you. Star, star, star. Everybody know it, right? S was for situation. You know, T is task, A is action, and R is result. Use this in every form. Let's come towards the next part. We are done with A. What is R? R is for rewarding facts. You have got it right into the chat box. Thank you. I love when you're typing because that means that you listened and you learned from this session, which is great. And what's the last one? E, last but not the least, it's nothing but evaluation. Absolutely great. Don't be disheartened if you don't get an interview or you don't crack. The second one, go for it. Third one, go for it. And trust me, this process will help you to crack the job which you want. How many of you had a lot of fun today and learned a lot as well? A thumbs up if you got it. Thank you. I usually don't introduce much at the start. I just show a few pictures at the end. Why? So that I can stay connected with all of you towards the end. So I'm going to take the next 5-7 minutes to tell you a little about me, after which we are going to take a nice picture together and then we are going to call it a day. Okay. So last 5 minutes for the day. And this is my journey and my story so far. This is how I began my first training. I was at the age of 21 with long hair. How many of you see a long hair there? A raise of hand if you see that. Thank you. Now imagine this. At 21, I'm going to big corporates and I'm training them on how to lead a corporate life. Now they have a training experience of 25 years. My age is 21, but still I am helping them with that. Now I want you to realize here, the techniques which I showed you today were the techniques that got me into such rooms, that got me into such sessions so that I could add value to them. Okay. And that is where you need to start believing in yourself. When I look back at this hairstyle, I'll be like, what was wrong with me? But at that point, I thought it was right. So you will get better with things. Everybody, you can't start perfect. You start where you are. And then eventually with time, you become a little better. Okay. So remember that always. I received an award from the President of India, Pranab Mukherjee. How many of you realize who this person is? Raise your hand up if you have heard of the president before. Thank you. Imagine getting an award for doing something you love, right? And my mother was there in the front row and she had warned me that out of the 100 cameras in front of you, you have to look at my 3-megapixel camera when there are digital DSLRs around. Okay, you have to still look into my camera. So if you see in this picture, I'm not looking actually at the camera. I'm looking somewhere else. That's where my mom is with that camera. She has a little tears rolling out on her eyes. She's clicking pictures and she's like, you have to look at me. So when you do something which you love, people around you start loving you more. They start appreciating you more. How many of you would like to make your parents proud? Give me a raise of hand. Your parents, your family, your cousins, your sister, brother, friends. Great. I can see everybody's hand up, right? So you start where you are today, and this would be a possibility for you as well. I recently got an award for being 30 under 30 in India, 30 most inspiring entrepreneurs in India. And we were covered by more than 10 countries across 100 publications, including the ones that you see here. Z5, Daily Hunt, Business Standard, the Sydney Herald, the East Coast American News, Sri Lankan News, Dubai Reporter, all of that covered us for the efforts which we are taking in this field. And we didn't know all of this would happen, right? I just knew I like to do this. How can I learn and do better? That's why I came to a course with EduBridge. That's why I stayed there for a couple of months and learned everything. And that's what I'm applying in the real world. So learning should never stop, no matter where you reach in your life. I also got an award for being the best skill development trainer in the country. And this was by the Argentine government when they came to India. And she was one of my favorites. She's my crush. Can you tell me her name? Anyone? Put her name in the chat box. Let me see if you can know this. Because you're all Gen Z people, right? I was from probably Gen X or Gen W. I don't know what generation I am, but I want to know if you still know who she is. Yeah, thank you. Sabha knows, Karishma knows, Tamluk knows, Sushma knows. Her name is Dia Mirza, and she had a movie in the year 2000, which was my era, my generation of growing up, which was Rehna Hai Tere Dil Mein. And I saw that movie. How many of you have seen that movie or heard songs from it? Thank you. It's a nice movie to see, right? I saw that movie and I had a dream in my mind that once in my life I should meet her because I had a huge crush on her. And I got a chance to meet her, not only meet her, we had lunch together. She gave us the award. My mother's still there in the front. And this was the day she got, just a week before that, she got divorced. So I was very happy that she got divorced and she's meeting. But just a month later, she got married again to someone else. I was like, okay, whatever. Things work out in different ways. But point being, if you have a dream and if you're willing to protect it, as what Will Smith would say from the Pursuit of Happiness movie, if you have a dream, you got to protect it, right? And trust me, things fall in your favor. This is how you would crack all the problems and interviews in your life, one step at a time. These are some of the teachers. These are the people that I want to thank, without which I couldn't have been where I am and I couldn't go to where I want to be. So these are people like Robin Sharma, the monk who sold his Ferrari. I have a mentor called as Robert Kiyosaki, rich dad, poor dad guy. These guys are amazing. Jeffrey Archer is here. I can see the one picture here is of me at EduBridge Guru School with the CEO of HSBC Bank for India. And he was there. Surendra Rosha was his name. You have Jack Canfield from the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. You have the local MLAs and all of them coming in. The point being, if you think you know everything, you cannot crack any interview, you cannot grow. Even at whatever stage you are, if you are ready to learn, that is something which is going to be a differentiator. That is what will take you closer to your dreams. So I have a YouTube channel wherein I go and I put a lot of videos and I make sure that I can help people by giving content. So if you want, you can check that out as well. And yeah, this is what I want all of you to do right now. I'm going to put a link here in the chat box right at this moment. And what I want you to do is just click on it and make sure that you can give us a 5-star rating if you had a lot of fun and you learned today. How many of you are willing to give a 5-star rating if you learned a lot today? Give me a double thumbs up if you had fun and you learned. Thank you. So click on it right now. I'm just going to give you 1 minute. Click on it, give us a 5-star rating, come back and type done in the chat box. And then we are going to take a nice picture and we are done for the day. Quickly do that. Just type done once you are done. The link is up in the chat box. Click on it and give us a 5-star rating if you had fun and if you learned a lot today, okay? Because your review and your rating helps somebody else to take a decision whether they want to learn with us. So I want you to realize you have a responsibility, right? Because of you, somebody else tomorrow would come and learn and their life would improve. So that's a big responsibility that you have. So just type done once you're done. Thank you. I can see a lot of people typing in done. And that is it. That is it that I had from my end for all of you. And I'm going to stop sharing the screen and let's take a picture right now. So all of you turn on all the lights that you have at your house, remove the excess oil and sweat from your face. Suddenly you will start looking more beautiful. Now look into your cameras and I'll take a screenshot. And I want you to give a pose, which is a double thumbs up. One is for fun and one is for learning. So keep like this double thumbs up in front of you. I'm going to take a picture on the count of 3. So be ready, okay? 1, keep your pose, keep your pose. 1, 2, and 3. Smile. Okay, I will take one more picture because I'm going to change the view. I can see limited people at one go. Now I can see the rest of the lot. So everybody again give a thumbs up because you may not know in which lot you are. Yeah, a bright smile on your face. Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and smile. Okay, you all are great at fake smiling. That's it. That's it. We have got maximum pictures that we could cover for. And I had an amazing, amazing experience interacting with all of you and sharing knowledge and information, which will help you to take an informed decision for your interviews. So I wish you all the best from the bottom of my heart. And I will then take it over to Pratibha in a moment. But just for me to know whether you had fun and learning today, type into that one thing in the chat box which you learned today. One thing. Just type any one thing which is coming to your mind. Is it the STAR technique? Is it the methodology we discussed for answering, the listening, the NLP one, looking up, looking down? What is it? STAR, NLP, STAR, prepare, you know, all the 7 stage. Wonderful. NLP, prepare, NLP. All of you are watching a lot of TV series, right? That is why you want that NLP thing. Who is saying true, who is saying false. You're going to use it with your friends, I'm sure. STAR, prepare. Your attitude, that is what will make you different from others. Prepare, NLP again. Well, great. That's it. Thank you from my end. A big thank once again for EduBridge, for Guru School, for Pratibha and the entire team for getting us all together. A big thank to all of you for taking 2 hours out of your life and investing it here in learning. But since I can't reach out to you, I want you to pat your back. And how do you do that? Everybody raise your hand up like this. On my behalf, take it behind your back, pat yourself and say, well done, say, well done. Give yourselves a round of applause. Well done. Thank you. So yes, over to you, Pratibha. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much, Abhay. It was an awesome session. I can see all the participants are so engaging. They are having fun. They are laughing, and I'm definitely very sure that they have learned something because they have been so interactive here. And I would like to thank you also for taking your time out for this session and like enlightening our audience for this on this very crucial topic.
Yes, thank you so much. And what we will do is this, if any of you have any questions, you can put
Yes.
that box and I'll take out the next 5 to 10 minutes and I'll answer it. And then we can call it a day. We can click on the button and we can leave. Okay. So just for the next 5 to 7 minutes, if anyone has any questions, I will be happy to answer them. If you can put it in the chat box.
You can just put it in the chat box, or else you can unmute and speak one at a time and think and work.
Yes.
We
Okay.
still have 5 minutes to go.
Says, please repeat what is NLP. NLP is neuro linguistic programming. So you don't have to understand the words as such. It simply means your brain science. How does a human brain work? That is called as neuro linguistic programming. And I use that techniques in giving interviews, in taking interviews, and in general communication as well. Yes. Aisha says, thank you, sir. Thank you to EduBridge for giving us the opportunity of learning. Thank you, Aisha, for staying back throughout. Kavita says, give a communication session. Yes, we will work on that in the pipeline for sure. Okay. Wonderful.
Sure, Kavita will do that. Thank you so much for the request.
Sir,
yeah, go ahead. Ask.
Till now, sir, I only think like interview going through only for your knowledge and anything else. But now I understand that your active attitude is also very much important. This is one of the best solution for cracking any interview, sir. Thank you for that.
Wonderful. Thank you. Let's give a round of applause for Mithali. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else who would like to share? How was your experience today? You can unmute and speak.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Good morning, sir. So it builds the confidence, sir. Everyone be confident after your speaks. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much to EduBridge, sir. Especially special thanks to EduBridge.
Yes, thank you so much, Sai.
Thank you, Sadhulu.
Wonderful. Thank you. I can see a question by Vikrant, which is in the chat box. It's an interesting question. Okay. He says, why some interviewers are rude? Why are they rude? So I'll tell you this very, very simple concept. I believe in this thoroughly. I believe your life is a mirror reflection of who you are. Okay. If you are good enough, you will start meeting good people in life. If you have been rude to someone in life, it will reflect back at some point in your life. And even if you're good and they're still rude, because they have enough people in their life who are rude. So what I want you to realize is when you open a box of Lays, not every chip will be the way you want, right? Some will be a little too oily. Some will be damp. Let that one go and go for the next one. Don't be disheartened if you meet rude people. Ask yourself, where in my life have I been rude to other people? And stop doing that and you will see no more rude people in front of you as well. How many of you got that answer? A thumbs up if that answers the question. Thank you. Remember, the world is a reflection of who you are. Be nice. You will get nice people in return. Okay. What else? Jyoti says some mic issue. Yeah, not a problem. Thank you. Anybody else who would like to share? You can unmute.
First of all, thank you, sir. Thank you for this session. I love the breakout room session. Why? Because I'm attending 2 sessions and both the session are only boys is there. I am first I get feared how to talk that boys. First I get feared and the time I'm only starting speaking. So I get proud. Oh, boys are there, but I am the starting speaker. So I love that.
Wonderful.
Thank you for the session. Thank you, EduBridge.
For Lokeshwari. Thank you, Lokeshwari. Well done. And I love that fact, see, we think, okay, boys and girls, and they know more, I know more. See, this is all just a state of your mind, right? The moment you decide, boss, why can't I start? I will take the lead. That shows a sign of a leader. So very well done there. Thank you. Okay. So I guess we don't have any questions. If anybody has something to share, we can. Else we have 2 more minutes. And at sharp 1 o'clock, I will take your leave. Okay. So we have 2 more minutes. You can ask anything if you want to.
Thank you so much, sir. It's a wonderful opportunity. And actually, you are sharing productive things. So it's very happy to this. And you are this 1 hour, you are continuously speaking is very active. So I can't go outside or I can't concentrate. Only I'm concentrating you what you are saying. It's very wonderful talking, sir. So you are very active speaker. So I'm really happy for that. So I want to be you like you, sir. It's a very good thing I learned from you, sir.
Thank you so much. Let's give a round of applause for Narmada.
Thank you, sir.
Wonderful. Thank you. So see,
And
when
how to manage this? You are continuously speaking actively. How to be all are getting to be concentrate our words. How to be your
yeah, that's a very good question. How can you also be active in speaking, maintain that energy level throughout, right? How many of you see the energy at 11 and the energy at 1? It's the same, or if not, it has increased. How many of you see that? Raise your hand if you see that. Thank you.
That's definitely increased.
It has increased,
For
right?
everyone.
Wonderful, superb. Thank you. So how is that possible? I want you to understand none of the results that you see right now. The biggest mistake you can do is you compare your life to what I'm living right now and think, okay, how can I get there? That's the biggest mistake. Why? Because my life is based on the 8 years of struggle and experiences which I've had, which have helped me do this. So if you met me when I was in my college days, I wouldn't even speak that much at what you've spoken right now. So my suggestion to all of you is this. It's like we are reading a book and you might be, Namrata might be at page 1 of that book. I might be at page 200. So it's not fair enough to compare page 1 with page 200, right? So with enough experience, you will develop that. Just do what you love. Do more of what interests you. And the moment you get that interest, the willingness, the skill can be learned. Remember this, skill without will equal to nil, zero. So unless you have the willingness, no matter how much skill you have, you won't be able to speak well. So it's the willingness there, which is important as well. Okay. Skill minus will equal to nil. So get both the things together. So thank you for asking that, Namrata. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So we are almost done. Anybody else with anything to share or ask? Else then I can take your leave.
All right, so I would like to thank you, Abhay, and thank you, Pratibha. So
thank you so much.
On the whole, it was really a wonderful session. So what I think or what I liked more about is along with the interview also taught us like how to present, be a very good presenter. So everybody, once they are into a proper profession, they will be asked to give a presentation. They would have to stand in front of some of their colleagues or public, and they'll have to interact there as well. So along with what are the things in order to crack interview is required, we also you have given us an insight on, how you can present, how easily you can add the slides, how you can give some real-time examples, something that can be connected with what we are already familiar with, taking them to the school life and then college and also the work experience and all. That was it was very interactive, and thank you so much, Abhay. That's all. Yeah, thank you.
Let's give a round of applause for Mercy as well. Thank you. Okay, that's it from my end. Thank you once again to EduBridge for Pratibha, Mercy, the entire team, for all of you for being there. And I wish you all the best. Good luck, and make sure that you stay well. Keep yourself healthy. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you and take care.
Thank you so much, Abhay. Thank you. So guys, I hope everyone enjoyed the session. So I'm going to end the session now. Hope everyone keeps safe and be happy. Bye-bye.